So when I first got the email from the Blues, I thought I was like in trouble for something. I didn't think they like wanted to work with me. I was like, oh no, like what did I do? I'll never forget that email and like, oh my gosh, they want to have a meeting with me. They actually want to work with me. And that was just so cool. And I remember going into that meeting kind of with the mentality of like, okay, I really need to sell them on this. Like I'm doing whatever it takes to make this happen. And that partnership has been huge for us.
If you love to laugh, you love the arts and authentic Mexican food, well, guess what? We have you covered this week on OpeCast. Now, Carlie is out, but hey, I brought in another special guest. I'm just joking. It's the same guest as last week. It's my guy, Epic Eats. What's up, man?
Yo, what up? Glad to be back again.
All right, man. So how's the last week been treating you?
Pretty well, man. Yeah, pretty chill. Nice restaurants, eating.
Do you feel like you've become a little more famous after being on OpeCast? I mean, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, a little bit. People think, I watched your episode on the OpeCast. So, yeah, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, my mom's like, who's that person that filled in for Carlie? And I was like, that's Epic. If you watched episode 3, you would remember. I'm just kidding. I love you, Mom. Well, one thing we love to do on this podcast is make you laugh. And I think laughing is very important just in life. Just because we take things so serious. And so what better way for St. Louis to laugh than with a comedy festival?
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree.
Man, have you heard of Flyover Fest?
I have not.
Oh, well, St. Louis, if you haven't heard of Flyover Fest, we're going to jump right into that. This 3-day festival will have over 30 events with 100 plus comedians. Now, it's going to have various styles for you to laugh at. So they're going to have comedy showcases, improv workshops, performances, sketch and storytelling shows. And they're also going to have people like Janelle James, which is from ABC's Abbott Elementary, which if you haven't seen that show, it's like just hilarious. Watch an episode. You're going to love it. They have Jeff Ross, which is the Roast Master General, Shang Wang of Two Dope Queens. And I know in the years past, they had people like Sarah Silverman come through. So if you're looking to learn a little bit more about the festival, visit flyovercomedyfest.com. Now, do you go to comedy shows?
I do.
Who's been some of your favorites that you've seen?
Oh, man, I know the last one I went to was Willie Mack. He was pretty good.
Oh,
yeah.
Shout out to Willie Mack.
Yeah, Willie Mack was nice. I loved him. Not nobody recently I've been to besides him. So
I think, yeah, he was good. I think the last one I went to was Jay Farrow.
Ooh,
he was good.
That was a good one.
He had an hour and a half set.
Really?
Yeah, man. He was good. His impersonations too.
That's true. Yeah, he is. Yeah. I know he's real funny.
Man, but I have been to a comedy festival, so I'm looking forward to attending this one because I went to Clusterfest out in San Francisco, and they literally, they get all the A-list comedians, so you can just pop into a spot, and it could be, who knows, like Colin Jost or something, or Michael Che or whatever from SNL. You can have all kinds of people. So I'm looking forward to watching this one grow because I know they have multiple headliners this year, so it's only going to keep growing.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely going to try to check this one out too, though.
Man. Yeah, well, we'll have to get us some tickets. Now, let's talk about some more shows. What do you have for us this week?
Yes, so another thing about St. Louis, live theater is one of the best things that makes our city special. The Repertory Theater recently hosted the Lehman Trilogy. They have more shows on the way as well. So this season includes Twisted Melodies, A Christmas Carol, The Greatest Love for Whitney, a tribute to Whitney. So that's one of the best ones I want to see. Moby Dick and The Loon, or is it The Loon?
I think The Loon.
The Loon?
Something like that.
Okay, I don't know. So The Loon. The theater is very immersive and an underrated gem in our city. For more information about this year's lineup, you can visit repstl.org.
So which ones are you going to see?
I mean, I might have to go see the Whitney one. I know that's the biggest thing I want to see. And maybe Moby Dick. I read the book in school. I know that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to. The Christmas Carol there. It's an incredible production. So I'll probably see that. I saw it with my mom last year. But man, you're talking about Whitney?
Oh yeah,
a tribute.
Come on. I mean, you got to see Whitney.
Yeah, and whoever's performing as Whitney.
Oh, that's some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I gotta do an interview. Like, I mean, I'm looking forward to that because Whitney has like, sometimes when I'm in the mood to listen to a beautiful voice and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna put on Whitney, and it's just like jam after jam. I mean, it's like, I forgot that Whitney was in whatchamacallit, The Bodyguard, until I saw the Broadway.
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, wait, these are all Whitney Houston songs. And my wife's like, that's.
That she's in the movie.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's a good transition into the next topic because, recently on this podcast, we talked about, the Fox Theater and the shows that are coming there. Well, Broadway will be returning to Stifel Theater. Now, there's a multi-year partnership between Stifel Theater and Fox Associates. So for the next few years, you can expect a few more shows in case you missed something at the actual Fox Theater. This will be at the Stifel Theater. So the first 3 shows that they have announced for 2024 include To Kill a Mockingbird, Hairspray, and The Cher Show. Now, they haven't released too much information in regards to when tickets are going on sale, but you can visit stifeltheater.com for more information on it. So are you going to see any of these?
To Kill a Mockingbird. I did that one in college. I read that one in college. So it's definitely one of my favorites. So I'll definitely try to see that.
I'm not gonna lie, you said you did that, and I was like, oh, my dude's an actor over here.
I wish.
Oh, man. Hey, one day on this podcast, I'll go into when I did Romeo and Juliet.
Ooh, I don't want to see that.
Bro, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't watch it. But I think for this one, To Kill a Mockingbird, that was just at the Fox, so I may skip out on that one. Mm-hmm. Hairspray is always a good one, and Cher, that's probably going to be very entertaining.
Yeah, I think Hairspray is going to be pretty good. But we know St. Louis is a food city.
Yeah.
So it's new restaurants on the horizon. So in South Hampton neighborhood recently added a multi-concept restaurant by Alex and Jeff Henry of Suresh over at the City Foundry. The new concept is called El Molino. This dinner spot will allow guests to enjoy a sit-down dinner on one side of the restaurant, and the other side is a cocktail lounge. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
The dishes are traditional Yucatan cuisines, and the cocktails will feature Mexican rums and much more. They're going to be open Tuesday through Sunday. Reservations can be made on Talk. So, are you going to visit? Or
Yeah.
Have you been?
I have been. I did enjoy it. The thing I like about it being separated is sometimes I just want to explore a restaurant just for like an appetizer and a cocktail. Mm-hmm. Not really having that whole sit down dinner. Mm-hmm. So I do like that aspect. Like even when I'm on vacation, different trips, like if I'm in New York, like sometimes I just want to pop in a place to just check it out or have that rooftop view. So I'll just grab a drink. Yeah. So I like that. Like my wife and I, we can go for a date night, and it's just always nice. I'm telling you, that South Hampton area, I love it.
Amazing.
It's great.
Yeah. So many gyms over there.
Princeton Heights too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little biased. I love that area. So, man, Epic, thanks for coming back on this week, man.
Of course, man. Of course. I love it, man.
Well, hopefully, Carlie, hopefully you're feeling better. We miss you. And, make sure to follow at Epic Eats STL, and we'll get into the next topic. Now that you have a few new places to try, we brought on our local bestie, Amber, to give us a few things to do this weekend. So, Amber, still in corporate bestie mode.
Always in corporate bestie mode.
What can people look forward to doing this weekend?
Yeah, we're about to be in our events era as we kick off with the Taylor Swift Fest at the Hawthorne. I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, that's great. People can't see. I'm laughing right now.
More music. We have Clayton Jazz Festival over in Clayton, Oktoberfest at Urban Chestnut and Das Bevo. I know the Oktoberfest at Urban Chestnut is a really big deal. I think they closed down the street. What street is that on?
Is it the Wash Ave or the Grove?
No, the one in the Grove. Manchester. Okay. They shut down Manchester, and there's just a ton of people drinking out of beer steins in the street. It's so fun. We also have Macklind Days. That's over in South Hampton area. That's a pretty big festival for them. I know there's a lot of local businesses that are pretty involved. And then Veg Fest in Forest Park.
So we're in the Oktoberfest era, as they would say, right?
We sure are.
Which one are you looking forward to doing?
I'm probably going to go to... Probably both. I went to both last year.
Both Oktoberfest?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
The Urban Chestnut one is a lot of fun, though. I got a little preview of it last week, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I think I'll check out one of the Oktoberfests since we're in October-ish. I think close to it, kind of, sort of, whenever this episode comes out. But then also, I think I'm going to go to Macklind Days because Macklind's it's such a beautiful area between South Hampton and Princeton Heights. Mm-hmm. And clearly, I like the area. So for a full list, make sure to follow at local.bestie on Instagram of everything that is going on this weekend. And for the different things that we discuss, check out at OpeCast, the pod. So have a great weekend.
Have the best weekend.
Now, that's a perfect transition into Foodie Friday, where we caught up with comedian Truwag to see where he likes to eat. So let's see what he had to say. It's Foodie Friday, and I have a special guest today. I'm here with Wag.
Yes.
So tell people about yourself, and let's get into some places to eat and drink.
Let's do it. I am, like he said, Truwag. You can follow me at Truwag on all platforms, whether it's TikTok, you know what I'm saying, Instagram. Facebook is a little different, but don't even worry about that. Just follow me on TikTok and Instagram. But also, yes, I started doing content creation during the pandemic, and it's been doing well. It's pretty much my saving grace so far. It's been getting me. It's been helping me mainly with a lot of my anxiety and a lot of things that I got going on. So I've been enjoying it.
So like if let's say you have a show because you do stand up, where are you going to have some drinks at, and then maybe the next morning where you going for brunch? Okay.
So as far as drinks go, I mean, I really don't be out in nightlife that much, but lately I've been going to Fahrenheit a lot, but mainly because, you know, a lot of my promotion is there. A lot of my, the people I work with work at Fahrenheit. The Blue Lounge also, I might have a drink at the Blue Lounge on Del Mar. Let's see, breakfast, I'm more of a the Rooster type of guy. I'm more like, I mess with the Rooster. But my lady got me into the Rooster.
What are you eating at the Rooster?
Oh, it's a great question. I'm a hash type of guy. Like, I love hash. Even eating at First Watch, I'm a farmhouse hash type of guy. Anything with hash browns, eggs, and sausage in it, I'm gonna eat every time.
All right. What about a date night? You said you're a girl, so
yes. Date night, I'm fun. Like, I like to go out and do fun things. I'm not so much just a dinner type of guy. I would love to go out and maybe do some mini golf at the Putt Shack, or big rec halls like the Foundry or something like that. I enjoy activities.
You like to have a variety.
Yes.
Because especially going out on a date night, it's where do you want to eat? And you mentioned 5 places. You can't agree. So you're like, hey, let's go to Foundry. You have 17.
Exactly.
And you can mini golf.
Right. You can mini golf at the same time. Putt Shack is right there. You know what I'm saying? You can do all the things in one fucking spot. You know what I'm saying? I like that, to have the variety of the options to choose from.
You have a coffee spot, or are you a coffee
person?
I'm
not a coffee. No
coffee?
I'm a tea drinker. I'm not a coffee
Where
drinker.
Where you going for tea?
I mean, mainly out the house. I'm going to Schnucks and getting me a box of herbal tea, and let's see if I had to go. Coma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Coma too. I like the ambiance. I'm more so if I go out for coffee or tea, it's more so aesthetic for me. It's not so much how good the drink is, because I can make a good tea or coffee at the house, but.
So basically, you're telling us you're gonna have your own tea company.
Basically.
Bam.
Foreshadowing a little manifestation, yeah.
Well, and how can people follow you again?
Yes, follow me on Instagram at True_Wag. Same thing on TikTok or on YouTube. I'm sorry, guys. Or on YouTube at Wag Da Vinci.
And for a full list, make sure to check out Instagram. We've partnered with STL Bucket List, so you'll be able to find a list of everything if you want to live like Truwag, and maybe one day he'll have a tea company. So appreciate you.
And I appreciate you too, Brad. Thank you so much.
This week I sat down with Sami of Series 6 to learn a little bit more about her inspiration behind one of St. Louis' hottest apparel companies, her current projects, and a little teaser at what's next. So check this out. It's Brad and STL, and I'm here with Sami Maurer of Series 6. You guys may have seen her clothes, or I say may. I know you've seen them all over town. Hockey games, baseball, soccer, farmers markets, festivals, out and about everywhere. And so, Sami, welcome on to OpeCast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
So let's dive into Series 6, because like I said, everyone has seen your apparel, but maybe they don't know who you are. And so, so before diving into Series 6, let's dive into you and what inspired you to start Series 6.
Yeah, so growing up in St. Louis, always loved just everything about St. Louis, the sports teams, the local food scene, so much about the city, and really started to appreciate it once I went away to college. And I went to school down in Mobile, Alabama, which has a very different way of life. Great down there too, but there was so much that I missed about St. Louis. And I was studying graphic design and business there, and I really wanted to come up with a career path that combined those two. When I was down at school, I saw so many Southern t-shirt brands, Vineyard Vines and Southern Marsh and all these brands. And I wanted to kind of take that concept, bring it back to St. Louis, and just celebrate the city of St. Louis.
Yeah, it is interesting that you say graphic design and business, because you literally do both. And so for like Series 6, do you all make your own designs or do you outsource any of that?
Yeah, so everything is designed in-house. So when I first started it, I was doing all the design work myself. Now we have a small team. Sarah, my director of art and retail, she does a lot of the design work for us now, but everything's designed in-house. There have been a handful that we've collaborated with other local artists, but we do all the design work and we pride ourselves in that.
Where do you all get your inspiration from? Because I feel like you helped contribute to retro coming back in St. Louis in full force. So with some of those designs, whether it was the Blues or the Cardinals, the retro, and now everyone's wearing it. And so where did you get your inspiration, or where do you? Because you have so many different designs.
Yeah. So we are constantly looking for retro inspiration, Googling things like 80s Blues t-shirt, 80s
Ozzy
Cardinals
Osbourne,
right? That kind of thing, and finding just a variety of styles, fonts, color palettes, etc., that we can pull from and take that vintage inspiration and kind of meld it with the current trends as well. And that's kind of how we get our creative juices flowing and starting at that point and then seeing where it can take us. Each design is different. Sometimes we think of a concept and it gets going right away. And other times a design kind of evolves until its final creation.
Well, the thing so I always hype up Sami in Series 6. The thing I love about your apparel is because I can buy it for my niece who just started preschool. Shout out to Bella. But yeah, so I could buy something for my niece, myself, my mom, my grandma, and everything's timeless. So it's something that I bought 5 years ago is still it still fits well. The design is still very relevant. So I gotta give you your props on that.
Thank you.
Now going back, not to get into what high school or anything that you went to, but at that time in life, did you see yourself maybe I want to get into fashion, or with graphic design, did you see yourself maybe I want to do some animation? What do you think?
I always was very creative as a kid. I would go to art camp every summer at Lohmeyer Sculpture Park. And I loved that. And I just loved anything artistic. And then in high school, we had a career day. And that's when I first heard a graphic designer speak and knew that was a career option, which kind of had that artistic feel to it, but it was more digital. It wasn't like I was doing everything by hand. And so I really liked that concept. And once I started pursuing that in college, I really enjoyed it. And then I also needed that kind of business structure to balance it out. And that's when I kind of put those two together.
And did you start off on, was it Etsy? Is that what I heard? Or?
Yeah. So when I first started, my first t-shirt design, I really just sold over Facebook. It was the summer between my sophomore and junior year of college. I came home that summer. I designed one St. Louis t-shirt that I just wore around the city. And as I started getting compliments on it, I just simply posted it on Facebook and took pre-orders, and really just friends shared it, and then friends of friends shared it, and people were ordering it. And then from there, I started putting them on Etsy and slowly growing from one design to two and so on.
Did you ever envision that you would be working with professional sports teams in town, like the Blues? And like, how did that process happen?
No. So when I first got the email from the Blues, I thought I was like in trouble for something. I didn't think they like wanted to work with me. I was like, oh no, like what did I do? Yeah. But yeah, I'll never forget that email and like, oh my gosh, they want to have a meeting with me. They actually want to work with me. And that was just so cool. And I remember going into that meeting kind of with the mentality of like, okay, I really need to sell them on this. Like I'm doing whatever it takes to make this happen. And that partnership has been huge for us. It was the first large partnership we got, and it gave us the credibility to then get to work with other large businesses like Anheuser-Busch, for instance. You know, once we kind of had that large partnership under our belt, it was easier, I would say, to get a second one.
It's like you have that stamp of approval. So it's like, hey, you know, because I know how it is on my part. I'm like, you know, hey, I've worked with, like you say, the St. Louis Blues, and they're like, oh, okay. Like, but I think, you know, what I love about what you all do is like you're going around to the different events in town, and you still do, even though you have a storefront. And I'm sure that's how they saw you. Like you're always at all these events, everyone's favorite event, and it's like, hey, Series 6 has a tent there. So it's like really cool that had led to this opportunity. But how was that like when you started off doing events? Because didn't you start off going to like a small town fair with Series 6?
Yeah, so my first ever event was the Kimswick Strawberry Festival.
That's it. I knew it was something like that.
I did that event like a month after graduating college. And I remember scrambling to, you know, come up with additional designs because I didn't want to just show up and be selling like one design. But that was my first event, and we still do that event. And yeah, local events were huge for us getting started because it's a way to get to sell product and get to, you know, go somewhere where there's already going to be a large amount of customers without having the overhead, you know, if you were to do a store right away. But to, you know, early on Series 6 or even before Series 6 existed, when I was just selling shirts as myself, we used to do about 100 events a year. So every, you know, 3 or 4 days we would do a different event, and I would kind of try any event once, and either it was a good fit for us or not. And then, you know, keep records of how each one went and go from there. And yeah, we still do a ton of those events. So
were you keeping track of it all through like Square or something, or were you like pen and paper, like starting out? Like how, because I know now everything's automated, but it's like at that time, OpeCast, right? That's how we plug our own podcast. But yeah, like starting out, was it pen and paper and you're like, okay, this isn't gonna work, I got to get straight into using whatever applications out there? Yeah,
there definitely were kind of those stages. I mean, at the beginning, I just would only accept cash at events. And then from there, it kind of slowly grew. And now we use Shopify as our platform that we host our website and manages our inventory and everything. It is a lot more streamlined, but definitely had those phases of figuring out kind of what worked best in the beginning.
Well, I almost forgot to ask this question, but how did you come up with the name Series 6? I can't believe I almost forgot that.
No, that's a very common question. So it took me a really long time to come up with the name. I knew I wanted something that had meaning to me, and I knew it was something that I hopefully was going to have to live with forever. You know, once that it was the business was going to work out, and I was going to have this name long term. So, but when I first started, I wasn't sure if I was only going to sell St. Louis shirts or if the business would take me in a different direction. Now I couldn't imagine selling anything but St. Louis shirts, but I just didn't know. So I didn't want the name to like tie me too much to the city. 6 has always been a family number in my family. So my dad played for the St. Louis Ambush back in the day. He was number 6. And then my brother and I played a ton of sports growing up. We always chose number 6 as our number, and then it kind of has a subtle St. Louis tie-in with Game 6 and Mutual's number, and then Series just kind of worked with it. The domain name was available, which,
It's
things
huge.
that are important that you
Socials.
that you don't necessarily think of when you're starting a business. Yeah.
So how does your family feel, Series 6? Now, I mean, you literally cannot go around St. Louis without seeing your shirt. Like, how does it feel for you and your family that you see hundreds, maybe thousands of people wearing your apparel?
It's still really exciting. I mean, the beginning, when we first would see one out in the wild, it was so rare. So that would definitely be super exciting. And my family would take photos and send them to me and that kind of thing. Now we see them more often, which is so exciting. And there'll be times, especially going around sporting events, where I'll just kind of take laps around between periods and just count how many I see, which is really fun.
Well, I can't think of I'm not sure what the design is called, but the one that says St. Louis, and I'll see them in like the blue. I'll see it in the yellow.
Yes,
I
all
see that
the
every
color
hockey
block
game.
sweatshirts.
Yes. I see that at like every hockey game. It's like probably at least 30 people, because you can like spot it out, because there's jerseys and then bam, and I'm like, oh, Series 6. Like, it's crazy that I know that's yours.
Yeah, that's one that I can identify, like, even if someone's back is to me too. Other ones, it's just the graphic on the front, but those ones we can always point out. We have quite a few more of those coming this season as well. So
I have to give you credit, because I never realized I was an influencer until we did that Anheuser-Busch photo shoot. I think this was it December of 2020 maybe?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
It's still my, like, I can't even like get a different photo on my profile or like on my Instagram or anything, because it's like just a signature photo. Because I remember I texted you, I was like, hey, can I bring a prop? Because I had the Nelly in a Budweiser can, and it's like, so at that point I realized I think that was my first photo shoot. No, that was the second one. The first time we did, dang, I think I got this shirt. It may have been on the Arch Grounds.
Yes.
I think that was my first time, because it was like masked up, maybe October of 2020. But then we did the Anheuser-Busch one. And after I posted that photo, I probably had at least like 70 people, hey, where did you get this? Blah, blah, blah. And then like Christmas came around and people were tagging me. I was like, oh, snap. Like, cause it was the red one. And then it was the blue, I think it says like STL on it with, I'm not sure, but I remember like I had those and I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm an influencer, because like people saw me. And then that was like my first modeling gig too. And then I became a model. I was like, cool. More people than my wife or my mom think I'm like handsome. And so like I started like my like modeling. I'm not a model, but like it started that.
We launched your career.
Like, no joke. That's why I'm like, it's kind of like with you going back to the Kimswick strawberry.
Yes.
It's like Series 6 started it.
Yes.
But that's something that's been amazing too, because like I think I took a photo in one of your shirts just like organically and posted. I think it was like when 9 Mile Garden opened, and then you saw it. Then it's like, hey, you want to do a photo shoot? And it's just like anytime you text, like if I can, I'm like, oh, I'm there. And sometimes I'm like, dang, I'm out of town for work or something. But how has that been, getting the community behind you to, do those photo shoots? Because you work with, all kinds of people. I think I've seen your family in photo shoots, people around town. Like, how has that been?
Yeah, so originally we would just source models by friends and family who wanted to participate. But now a lot of times we just source over Instagram, and we'll just kind of post something on our story. Hey, we need a few models this day, and see who's available. And we've had great response from that, and people are always excited to be a part of it. So that's been fun, kind of meeting new people and customers and stuff that way who've just wanted to kind of be a part of our different shoots, and they're always really fun.
I feel like your customers, like myself, like we love to see you grow. And so I think it was about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, you got over into Boulevard, and that launched, you having a storefront. So how has that process been? And then we can start talking about what's next for Series 6.
Yeah, that was huge. So we won a competition for a free storefront space. So we did a whole interview process, pop-up process. There was online voting. And then we won, and we had like a couple months to put this store together. And that was just an experience that we were so grateful and appreciative of, because for a while we weren't sure, would we be successful doing brick and mortar? We were so used to the pop-up routine of pop-up events, that kind of thing. And we didn't know if it was worth signing a long-term lease. So this gave us the risk-free ability to kind of test out if storefront made sense.
Because this was still during the pandemic too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been great. It's been really, really great getting to see customers every day in person, because so much of what we did before was online and shipping orders out. And especially having a business that is so local. I mean, yes, we ship things to other states, but so many of our customers are right here in St. Louis. So giving them the opportunity to be able to come in and shop and interact with the customers, and even putting together the displays and everything like that, it's been really huge for us.
So what's next?
Yeah, so we are opening or moving our store location from our current space in Richmond Heights. We'll be there through Christmas Eve. We'll close for a couple weeks, and then early January we are moving to Lindenwood Park neighborhood. So we'll go from a 1,200 square feet space to a 6,400 square feet space. So our new space will have larger storefront and then house our entire warehouse, which is going to be huge for us.
It's going to save you a lot of time from driving all over town in your SUV,
Yes. Yeah. Right now, I mean, our warehouse is just 10 minutes down the road. But there'll be certain times of the year, like the day before Mardi Gras last year, I drove to and from the store and the warehouse, I think, 4 times, because you just can't, you can't predict how much is going to sell. And when you have that time of the year when it's sweatshirts, it's really hard to have storage space for all of those. So this will be nice that everything is all under one roof and we can work efficiently. We'll have an office. Right now, we just design shirts from the checkout counter.
Oh,
so
really?
that'll be a change.
It explains really nice. Why I see Sarah always on the computer.
Yeah.
I thought she's doing inventory or keeping up with some sales or something. Makes sense. So for those who do not know where Lindenwood Park is, recently you shared, I think it was on Instagram, you're like, hey, we're 5 or 10 minute, 10 minutes away from, walking distance from these few places. So what are some of those places that are walking distance from Series 6? So
we're going to be on Watson Road. We're going to be 2 doors down from Pietro's. So walking distance from Biggie's, LeGrand's, Mom's Deli, Blueprint Coffee, Ted Drew's, Donut Drive-In. We're gonna be right by all those awesome places.
And one thing that I really liked during the pandemic, now that we're talking about some of the local places you're going to be near, is that you worked with how many restaurants to help raise money for their staff? I lost count.
Yeah, so we just counted the other day. We have 42 now.
42 restaurants.
Yes, that we've worked with. So our Support Local series started early COVID, a way for us to give back to restaurants, support restaurants, and stay relevant during a time where sports weren't being played. Mm-hmm. So we started that restaurant series where we design a shirt, we do a profit split with those different restaurant partners, and it's just kind of continued to grow over the years. The more we've worked with, the more people that want to be part of it. Mm-hmm. Now we're getting to the point where you should see our table in our store full of restaurant shirts, because it is just overflowing. Yeah. We need a bigger table, but it's been really fun to get to work with all those different businesses and just see people come in excited about those shirts, having strong memories at different places or different places that they haven't heard of that they want to try or learn mm-hmm. about. So that's been a really big partnership that we've been able to do.
Well, the thing I love kind of going back to your designs is how, if you're from St. Louis, then you can relate to something. I could take my mom or grandma in there and they'll see the Crown Candy shirt and that's what they're like, oh, take them back 30 years from, when they were a kid and experience that. And it's really cool. It's amazing that food does that and you're making the shirts with those places and helping them out still.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And we have a few new ones coming soon. So that's always excited when we have more of those in the works.
So last time I interviewed you, it was like, hey, I want to work with Telania's. And that ended up happening. Rest in peace to Telania's. So that was really cool to see that come to life. Now, for the future of Series 6, what are some of the goals that you're willing to share with those listening, those watching, or some of your dreams, and how can St. Louis help you get there?
Yeah, so really continuing to partner with as many different local businesses that we can now that we have so many of these restaurant shirts and partnerships with those restaurants. I have the idea, well, it could be really cool if we did, for instance, a Lindenwood Park shirt that then had all these restaurants featured on it. Agreed. Since we already, work with those different restaurants and then doing that for multiple neighborhoods. But really just working with as many different local businesses that we can and growing some of the current partnerships that we have as well. So for instance, we talked about the Blues earlier and that being such a big partnership for us. And we're continuing to grow that. This year we'll have carved out a dedicated space inside the team store. So a whole kind of Series 6 section in there. And have been working on even more designs with them for this season.
That's awesome. Because the year you started partnering with them, that was the year they won the Stanley Cup.
It was right after.
Right after?
So
gotcha.
It was right after they won the Stanley Cup. So we weren't working with them like through that run, but then we still did a decent amount of championship merchandise with them kind of right after the beginning of the following season.
So before we wrap things up on the podcast, I like to ask guests 2 questions. The first one, it involves food because I love food and food brings us together, and you have 42 plus, more on the way, restaurant shirts. And so food brings us all together. And if you were at let's say a booth or a table of 4 yourself, and you could have 3 other people join you, whether they're famous, they're your neighbor, someone you met in a parking lot, whatever, join you for a conversation, who would they be and why?
That's such a hard question. Well, one person that would definitely be there would be my grandpa, Gene. So my grandpa passed away my senior year of college. So really right before I dove into Series 6 and started building it out. And he's a big reason why I created this business. From a young age, he pulled me aside and told me that, I should be a business owner, that I had it in me and he believed in me. And he was an entrepreneur himself. So I really valued what he said. And I think him believing in me and giving me those words of wisdom really kind of set me on that path to do what I'm doing. So I'd love to kind of just update him on everything that I've done. And just kind of get advice and questions that I have about business, now that I've been doing it for several years. So since I would have him there, I would probably pick a few other entrepreneurs. Okay. Just this table of entrepreneurs talking business. One person that I've always been fascinated by is Sarah Blakely, who founded Spanx. Her business and her story has been very interesting. And then I would throw in Jesse Cole. Okay. If you know who that is. He is the founder and owner of the Savannah Bananas.
Oh, Savannah Bananas. Yep.
Whether people love them or not, that whole story and his business model, I've read multiple books by him. And it's been so interesting to see what he's created and kind of the business plan that he's gone through to make, this team and create this huge fandom. I think that would be my group of 4. And it would just be a lot of business talk and ideas flowing.
That's amazing. If you had to pull up a chair, anybody else?
Oh, gosh.
We'll leave it at the 3. And now one last thing. We like to leave people with words of wisdom, whether it's someone looking to do what you're doing, maybe someone is going through a tough time in life. If you had any words of wisdom to share, what would they be?
So I would say, especially one thing that I like to say to anyone starting a business is just stick with it. It doesn't happen overnight. I think a lot of times people get discouraged when they've been working on something for weeks or months or even a year, and it just doesn't feel like it's getting off the ground as quickly as they would hoped. You're always going to have that day one when you start your Instagram for your business and you have one follower and it's yourself from your personal account, and that's it. And it's going to take some time to grow, but just be patient with the process. Keep putting out good content, quality product that you're proud of, and it will grow from there, and just stick with it.
Trust the process. Actually, I almost forgot one important thing. You're getting married here. By the time this comes out, are you changing your last name? Keeping your same?
I am, yes.
Okay, so it's gonna be Sami
Baldridge.
So how can people follow Sami Baldridge, or I guess we want to maybe people follow Series 6, right?
Yes. Yep. So Series 6 Company on Instagram, on Facebook, and then series6company.com. And then currently we're in the Boulevard Shopping Plaza in Richmond Heights. And then come January is when we'll be in Lindenwood Park.
Or if you're at a blues game, they're going to have their own designated section, and you'll probably see them around town. So Sami, I appreciate your time today.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
As always, I want to thank all my co-hosts, the people behind the scenes, including Jason, who is editing this, along with Midcoast Media for hosting us at their studio right here in Midtown St. Louis. If you enjoyed the show, then please like and subscribe on YouTube and follow at OpeCast the Pod on all social channels as we grow our community.